Exposed. Chinese hackers file 15-plus patents for advanced cyber espionage tools. In a stunning revelation, Chinese companies connected to the infamous state-sponsored hacking group known as Typhoon, also known as Hafnium, have allegedly secured more than 15 patents for sophisticated cyber espionage tools. This discovery casts a revealing light on a murky ecosystem of cyber contracting and offensive digital capabilities. But here's where it gets controversial. These patents include innovations for digital forensics and intrusion tools that can capture encrypted data from endpoints, perform forensic analysis on Apple devices, and even remotely manage routers and smart home technologies. According to a recent report by SentinelOne, these breakthroughs highlight significant gaps in the way cybersecurity experts currently attribute threats. Dakota Carey, the China-focused strategic advisor at Sentinel Labs, explained that conventional threat actor tracking typically assigns groups or campaigns to a known actor. However, his research suggests that a more nuanced approach could shed light not only on the individuals running these operations, but also on the companies they represent and the extensive capabilities these companies possess. These commercial assets, in turn, reinforce the strategies of state entities that contract these firms, thus painting a broader picture of state-sponsored cyber-offensive strategies. This investigation builds upon the U.S. Department of Justice's July 2025 charges against Zewei and Zhang, who were reportedly working on behalf of China's Ministry of State Security in a large-scale exploitation campaign. This campaign notably targeted Microsoft Exchange server vulnerabilities using then-unknown zero-day exploits referred to as ProxyLogon. Court documents revealed that Zewei was employed at Shanghai Powerock Network Co. Limited, while Zhang held a position at Shanghai Firetech Information Science and Technology Company, both operating under direct directives from the Shanghai State Security Bureau. And this is the part most people miss: the rapid business changes following this controversy. For example, it was noted by NATO Thoughts that Shanghai Powerock deregistered on April 7, 2021, shortly after Microsoft implicated China in the zero-day incident. Zewei's career path also took a surprising turn as he later joined Chaitin Tech, a notable cybersecurity firm, before eventually assuming the role of IT manager at Shanghai GTA Semiconductor Limited. Adding further complexity to the picture, hacker Yin Kachang, connected to Typhoon, has been reported to work for Shanghai Heiying Information Technology Company Limited, which was established by Zhou Shui, a patriotic hacker and alleged data broker. Carey pointed out that Shanghai Firetech reportedly executed specific tasks mandated directly by MSS officers, earning it a long-term, trusted relationship with the premier regional office of the MSS, the Shanghai State Security Bureau. This closely directed relationship hints at an organized, tiered system among China's offensive hacking operations. Further layers of this intricate network have emerged with additional patents filed by Shanghai Firetech and a joint venture, Shanghai Xiling Commerce Consulting Center, founded by Zhang and Yin Wenji, the CEO of Shanghai Firetech. These patents are designed for advanced data collection from Apple devices, routers, and other defensive hardware. Even more surprisingly, there is evidence suggesting that Shanghai Firetech is also developing capabilities that could be leveraged for highly targeted surveillance and close access operations against specific individuals. Dakota Carey emphasized that the array of tools developed by Shanghai Firetech actually exceeds what has been publicly attributed to Hafnium and Typhoon. This indicates that some of these capabilities might have been licensed to other regional MSS offices, remaining under the Hafnium umbrella despite being distributed among several entities. This controversial disclosure raises the critical question: what are the broader implications of such widespread state-sponsored cyber capabilities? Does the diffusion of these tools among multiple agencies represent an intentional dissemination of power, or is it a matter of corporate survival in an increasingly competitive and secretive environment? What do you think about this multi-layered web of cyber espionage? Do you agree that linking companies to state-sponsored operations adds an extra layer of complexity to threat attribution? Or do you see other potential interpretations? Share your thoughts in the comments. Uncovering Silk Typhoon, China's powerful cyber threat. Unveiling the Silk Typhoon, a deep dive into China's cyber offensive tools. In a world where cyber threats loom large, the revelations about the Silk Typhoon group are both alarming and eye-opening. Recent investigations into this China-backed threat group have uncovered sophisticated offensive tools and a web of connections linking the attackers to the companies they represent and the Chinese government itself. This is a critical issue that demands our attention. Sentinel Labs has conducted a thorough analysis of an indictment released by the Department of Justice, DOJ, earlier this month, detailing the activities of two hackers, Zewei and Zhang. These individuals are believed to be affiliated with Silk Typhoon, also known as Hafnium, a notorious Chinese cyber threat actor. The indictment sheds light on their employment by two firms working under the auspices of China's Ministry of State Security, MSS. This report highlights the significant role that China's contracting ecosystem plays in the broader threat landscape. Researchers have identified over 10 patents for advanced forensic and data collection technologies registered by companies like Shanghai Firetech Information Science and Technology Company. These tools, previously unrecognized as part of Silk Typhoon's arsenal, provide capabilities that range from acquiring encrypted endpoint data to conducting mobile forensics and gathering information from network devices. But here's where it gets controversial. These technologies have not been reported, raising questions about the extent of their use in cyber operations. Rethinking threat attribution. The findings from this investigation reveal a significant gap in traditional threat attribution methods, which often focus on identifying specific threat actors rather than the companies that employ them. Dakota Carey, a consultant at SentinelOne and a non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub, emphasizes that understanding the companies behind these hackers is crucial for effective threat analysis. Carey points out that the hackers indicted are part of a hierarchical structure of Chinese contractors engaged in offensive hacking for the People's Republic of China, PRC. He notes the difference between the capabilities of Shanghai Firetech and the tactics used by Hafnium illustrates that mapping intrusion activities back to a single organization is not straightforward, especially in China. This complexity means that defenders may encounter various intrusions linked to Shanghai Firetech without realizing the same company is behind multiple attacks. The Chinese hired gun ecosystem, Silk Typhoon or Hafnium, has been under scrutiny for years, with its most recent activities linked to a breach of the U.S. Treasury Department. This group has also targeted a wide array of sectors, including defense, healthcare, nonprofits, higher education, law firms, and think tanks. In 2021, they gained notoriety for exploiting 4 zero-day vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange Server, including the infamous ProxyLogon, to compromise email servers in targeted attacks. The indictment reveals a complex ecosystem of contractors in China, where many companies and individuals collaborate on cyber intrusions. Carey explains that many advanced persistent threats, APTs, like Silk Typhoon, consist of various companies serving multiple clients. China's diverse private sector offensive ecosystem supports a wide array of intrusion capabilities, he states, suggesting that tracking tools back to a single cluster may not accurately reflect the attacker's organizational structure. A call to action for threat intelligence. What does this mean for the future of threat intelligence? It suggests that researchers should shift their focus from merely tracking clusters of behavior to investigating the organizations that employ individual hackers and their capabilities. This deeper analysis could uncover previously hidden connections between various threat groups and actors, potentially leading to more effective threat hunting outcomes. Carey advises that threat intelligence analysts should be cautious about using tool usage as the sole indicator of relationships between attackers or their APTs. The research indicates that companies supporting intrusions may provide their tools to other actors in the ecosystem, which can result in incomplete or misleading attribution. Conclusion. In summary, the revelations surrounding Silk Typhoon and its connections to powerful offensive tools and PRC-backed companies highlight the need for a more nuanced approach to threat intelligence. As we continue to navigate the complexities of cyber threats, it is essential to consider the broader ecosystem of contractors and their capabilities. What are your thoughts on this evolving landscape? Do you believe that understanding the companies behind cyber threats is as crucial as identifying the attackers themselves? Share your opinions in the comments below. About the author. Elizabeth Montalbano is a seasoned freelance writer and journalist with over 25 years of experience. Her expertise spans technology, business, and culture. Having worked as a full-time journalist in cities like Phoenix, San Francisco, and New York City, she now resides in a picturesque village on Portugal's southwest coast. In her leisure time, Elizabeth enjoys surfing, hiking with her dogs, traveling, playing music, practicing yoga, and cooking. China's covert capabilities. Uncovering Hafnium's silk spun secrets. China's shadowy tech arsenal. How Hafnium's corporate web changes the cybersecurity game. Imagine a hidden network of companies quietly developing surveillance tools capable of breaking encrypted phones, siphoning data from your laptop, and sniffing traffic from routers, all tied to China's most notorious hacking group. But here's where things get really complicated. Executive insights in a sweeping new investigation. Sentinel Labs uncovered over 10 patents for cutting-edge and invasive digital forensics and data collection techniques. These patents weren't just held by anyone. They belong to companies directly named in U.S. indictments for supporting the threat actor group famously known as Hafnium. What's at stake? These corporate inventions represent advanced offensive cyber capabilities rarely discussed in public, including the ability to extract encrypted data from endpoints, probe mobile devices, and intercept information from network hardware. The backdrop for this study is the tangled relationship between the hackers themselves, the companies they operate, and Chinese government agencies using these services for state-sponsored cyber operations. Setting the scene. In July 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice accused two Chinese nationals, Zewei and Zhang, of working under the direction of China's Ministry of State Security, MSS. Their connection? Two companies previously not acknowledged in the open as part of the Hafnium, also known as Silk Typhoon, network. Hafnium has a notorious history, having attacked institutions ranging from defense contractors and universities to medical research facilities. Their 2021 campaign exploiting zero-day security holes in Microsoft Exchange Server, MSS, is a cybersecurity case study, but their methods and targets reveal an even deeper strategic intent. 3 revelations. 1. New offensive tools. Companies linked to Hafnium have developed capabilities unseen anywhere else. One patented technology can remotely recover files from Apple computers, a skill neither Hafnium nor similar groups were previously known to possess. This raises red flags about ongoing support for MSS and the real challenges of pinpointing responsibility. 2. The hacker-business-state nexus. The DOJ's charges illuminate a layered web of collaboration between hackers, their employers, and government customers. How far does the ministry reach in guiding its digital proxies? This question grows more urgent as lines blur between government operations and private sector capabilities. 3. Web of front companies. Dozens of companies and sub-entities associated with just a few defendants highlight how fragmented and obscured these operations can be. One key player alone had registered multiple firms, with an associate managing even more. This level of indirection makes tracking threat actors far trickier. A big attribution problem. Traditionally, security analysts map campaign clusters to a threat actor name, like Hafnium. But this research underscores how critical it is to track not just the digital fingerprints of hackers, but also the companies they're tied to, what those companies are building, and their formal and informal relationships with the state. Surprisingly, that's the part many analysts overlook. Does it mean we've underestimated the reach of groups like Hafnium? Hafnium's global ripple effect. Consider this. How often does a hacking operation force world powers to unite and change their diplomatic approach? What if Hafnium is getting credit or blame for things it didn't even do? The group gained infamy after gaining silent access to U.S. government emails through the ProxyLogon vulnerability in March 2021. But soon, hordes of lesser-known hackers piggybacked on the discovery, using the flaw for everything from espionage to ransomware. Hafnium became the scapegoat for the digital chaos that followed. But is this a fair assessment, or are we conflating the actions of many with the name of one? Microsoft warned its top security program partners about the issue only days before other state-linked and criminal groups launched widespread attacks. The technique was soon so abused that the U.S. government had to give the FBI unprecedented authority to remove malicious code from thousands of infected servers. Such was the severity that the US, UK, and EU issued an unprecedented joint condemnation against China, a statement that rattled policymakers in Beijing who were used to blocking such unity among Western nations. China's reaction, a new propaganda machine. In response, China overhauled its strategy. Starting in July 2021, it began releasing coordinated information campaigns and English-language propaganda, often pairing them with cyber threat intelligence reports. This move wasn't just about saving face, it was a calculated response to the success of Western governments working together. The shift continues to influence how China communicates about cyber issues today, creating a new front in the battle for global narrative dominance. Cluster confusion. Who really belongs to Hafnium? Following a major breach into U.S. Treasury systems, new sanctions and indictments exposed more individuals linked to this cyber espionage network. Notably, while Microsoft rebranded Hafnium as Silk Typhoon in 2022, the individuals involved remain closely tied to a handful of Shanghai-based firms, including Shanghai Powerock and Shanghai Firetech. The lines between hacker, contractor, and front company blur even further. Chain of command. How deep does the rabbit hole go? Shanghai Firetech, for instance, wasn't running freelance cyber heists. Instead, company staff were directly assigned tasks by the Shanghai Bureau of the MSS. The level of trust and ongoing assignments reveals a deeply embedded relationship, contrasting with firms like iSoon, which often scraped by on small contracts and low morale. This multi-tiered ecosystem includes low-level players like iSoon and more sophisticated outfits like Chengdu 404. While the crown jewels for the MSS seem to be companies proving both skill and reliability, like those run by Zewei and Zhang. To complicate things, China also operates traditional front companies directly run by security agencies, so not everything is outsourced. But here's what most people miss. These connections don't just reveal who's hacking whom. They reveal the entire architecture China uses to assign, manage, and profit from cyber operations. A system readily obscured by a maze of firms and aliases. The curious case of Hafnium's 0 days. A lingering mystery remains. How did Hafnium get its hands on MES vulnerabilities, just as Taiwanese researcher Orange Tsai was uncovering them? Was it luck, corporate espionage, or something darker, perhaps a collection operation by the Shanghai State Security Bureau itself? The tight partnership between hackers and their MSS handlers suggests knowledge travels quickly, sometimes sidestepping traditional bug reporting channels entirely. From campus apps to cybersecurity tools, tracing Shanghai Firetech's origins, it emerges that Zhang and partners first developed apps for university students before moving to business consulting. Intriguingly, the company's founder once lectured students on bypassing Apple Mac encryption years before patenting similar technology. Was this just a technical presentation, or was it the seed for future hacking capabilities? The Silk Bandolier.